When you think of using the toilet, privacy is usually the top priority. But in ancient cities like Rome or Ephesus, forget it. Public toilets called latrines were open, communal spaces. Long stone benches with keyhole-shaped holes lined the walls. No partitions, no privacy, just you, your neighbors, and the sound of, well, everything. People chatted, conducted business. Some even shared gossip or talked politics while doing their business. For many, it was the ancient version of a coffee shop, just with a terrible smell and no ventilation. There was no toilet paper either. Instead, Romans used a shared sponge on a stick, called a tersorium, rinsed in a water trough between uses. Yes, shared. So not only were you sitting elbow to elbow, but you were also trusting the sanitation habits of everyone who came before you. Ancient people didn't understand germs or how diseases spread, but they knew something was wrong. Toilets stank badly. Waste collected in deep trenches beneath the benches, often without flowing water. And these latrines weren't isolated. They were often built into busy marketplaces, forums or bathhouses. This meant flies swarmed, smells drifted, and in many cases, disease spread rapidly through the water supply and human contact. Cholera, dysentery, and parasites were rampant. In Rome's heyday, sewer systems like the Cloaca Maxima helped some waste move out of the city. But during floods, everything backed up into the streets and sometimes into homes. Some people thought foul smells carried disease through miasma, and while that theory was wrong, it wasn't far off. The air in and around public toilets was filled with bacteria, and anyone who used them regularly risked serious illness. As if sharing a toilet wasn't unpleasant enough, ancient latrines came with some very real dangers. First, rat. With a direct connection to sewer tunnels, toilets were prime entry points for rodents. It wasn't uncommon for people to feel something brush against them from below, and it wasn't always water. Then came the fires and explosions. The buildup of methane gas from human waste created a combustible environment. Combine that with open flames from oil lamps or torches used to light dark latrines, and you had a recipe for sudden ignition. There are records from ancient sources of toilets catching fire or even exploding, causing panic and injuries. Romans believed in spirits called lemures, restless ghosts, and some thought toilets were haunted because of how many strange things happened there. So next time you complain about a dirty public bathroom, be thankful it's not on fire or hiding a sewer rat. You might assume the elite had access to cleaner, safer restrooms. Think again. Even aristocrats and politicians had to use public facilities while in the city. Roman villas sometimes had private latrines, but when away from home, they shared the same bench as commoners. In some cities, toilet slaves stood by to clean your sponge for reuse or hold your cloak while you did your business. A luxury, perhaps, but the sanitary conditions were still awful, and even the wealthy weren't immune to the diseases circulating in these latrines. Some historians believe Emperor Elagabalus ordered the construction of perfumed toilets for his personal use, an extreme measure that barely helped. Despite their riches, the upper classes still sat cheek to cheek in a room filled with disease, rodents, and stench. The only real difference, they might have had a servant to hold their nose for them. As revolting as they seem today, public toilets in ancient cities tell us a lot about urban planning, health, and the evolution of civilization. They were among the first communal sanitation systems in history, evidence that even early societies understood the need for waste management. Cities like Rome, Ephesus, and even ancient Mohenjo-Daro built impressive sewage systems for their time. But they were still dangerous. Disease was everywhere, privacy was non-existent, and safety was always a gamble. Today, we flush, we wash, and we isolate, but for thousands of years, going to the bathroom meant sharing space, smells, and risks with your entire neighborhood. It's a reminder, hygiene and privacy are modern luxuries, and history has a way of humbling us. From sponge sticks to toilet fires, ancient public restrooms were far from relaxing. They were a battleground of disease, discomfort, and the occasional rodent ambush. So next time you step into a clean restroom, take a second to be grateful. You didn't have to bring your own sponge or share it. If you enjoyed this dive into the dark corners of ancient life, don't forget to like, subscribe, and flush responsibly.